What if you were told that the physical world you interact with every single day is nothing more than a holographic projection? What if time and space do not actually exist, but are merely illusions created by your brain to process data? You might think this sounds like a science fiction movie or a fringe internet conspiracy, but it is not. It is the official, scientifically documented conclusion of the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States. Welcome to Vantage Elite. Today, we are opening the vault on one of the most mind-shattering documents ever declassified by the United States government. This is not a theory. This is a highly classified military assessment of human consciousness, reality, and the mathematical proof that we are living inside a holographic universe. In 1983, the CIA commissioned a top-secret report to investigate a method of hacking the human brain. They wanted to know if it was possible to alter a human's brainwave frequency to such an extreme degree that their consciousness could physically leave their body, travel through time, traverse different dimensions, and communicate with extra-dimensional intelligence. The resulting 28-page document is known as the Analysis and Assessment of Gateway Process, and what it reveals about the true nature of our reality will completely destroy everything you thought you knew about your existence. Act 1. The Cold War of the Mind. To understand why the premier intelligence agency of the United States was investigating astral projection and holographic realities, we have to go back to the height of the Cold War. In the 1970s and 1980s, the United States and the Soviet Union were engaged in a massive covert arms race. But this race was not just about nuclear weapons or advanced fighter jets. It was a race to weaponize the human mind. American intelligence agencies received terrifying reports that the Soviet Union was pouring millions of dollars into psychotronic research. The Soviets were training psychic spies, individuals who could allegedly use their minds to project their consciousness across the globe, spy on top-secret American military bases, and even influence the thoughts of foreign leaders without ever leaving a room in Moscow. The CIA and the U.S. military panicked. They could not afford to lose the psychic arms race. This panic birthed several highly classified black budget programs, the most famous being the Stargate project. But while Stargate focused heavily on remote viewing, the CIA needed something deeper. They needed to understand the exact physics of how human consciousness could detach from the physical body. They found their answer in a man named Robert Monroe. Robert Monroe was a wealthy radio broadcasting executive. In the late 1950s, he began experiencing spontaneous, uncontrollable, out-of-body experiences. Without warning, his consciousness would float out of his physical body. He could look down at himself sleeping in his bed. He began traveling to places he had never been and interacting with entities he could not explain. Instead of going crazy, Monroe, who had a background in sound engineering, decided to study his condition scientifically. He created the Monroe Institute, a research facility dedicated to mapping the human consciousness. Monroe made a groundbreaking discovery. He realized that the brain operates on electrical frequencies, and by using specific layered sound waves, he could artificially induce these out-of-body states in anyone. He called this patented audio technology Hemi-Sync. When the CIA and U.S. Army intelligence heard about Robert Monroe's success, they sent one of their most brilliant analytical minds, Lieutenant Colonel Wayne M. McDonald, to the Monroe Institute. His mission was to experience the gateway process himself, analyze the physics behind it, and write a comprehensive report for the military. What Lieutenant Colonel McDonald discovered and wrote in that report is the ultimate key to breaking the simulation. Act 2. Hacking the hemispheres. To escape the matrix, you first have to understand the hardware that traps you inside it, your own brain. In the Gateway Report, the CIA explains that the human brain is entirely divided. The left hemisphere of your brain is the logical, analytical, rational side. It processes language, mathematics, and the linear flow of time. It is the part of your brain that grounds you in the physical world. The right hemisphere of your brain is the creative, intuitive, non-linear side. It processes emotions, spatial awareness, and abstract thought. It is your connection to the infinite. In a normal waking state, your brain is a chaotic mess of electrical activity. The left and right hemispheres operate at completely different frequencies. They do not work together. Because of this chaotic, unaligned electrical activity, your consciousness is restricted to the physical body and the immediate sensory environment. This is exactly how the system wants you to operate, distracted, divided, and grounded in the physical illusion. But Robert Monroe's Hemi-Sync technology figured out how to hack this hardware. Hemi-Sync relies on a phenomenon called frequency-following response. Imagine putting on a pair of stereo headphones. In your left ear, a pure tone of 100 Hz is played. In your right ear, a pure tone of 104 Hz is played. Your brain cannot process two different tones at the same time. To compensate, your brain automatically creates a third tone inside your head, a tone of exactly 4 Hz, which is the mathematical difference between the two sounds. By feeding very specific, calculated frequencies into each ear, the Monroe Institute discovered they could force the entire brain to synchronize. The chaotic electrical firing stops. Both the left and right hemispheres of the brain begin to vibrate at the exact same frequency, in perfect harmony. The CIA report calls this state Hemi-Sync, or hemispheric synchronization. When the brain achieves this perfect synchronization, something miraculous happens. The physical body goes completely to sleep, but the mind stays intensely awake. The brain's electrical output becomes highly concentrated, acting like a laser beam. Once the brain achieves this synchronized laser-like focus, the left hemisphere's grip on reality completely shuts down. The logic center turns off. The brain stops processing the physical illusion of the room around you. Your consciousness is now free to leave the physical avatar. It is ready to enter the gateway. Act 3. The Holographic Universe. This is where the CIA document stops being a biological assessment and becomes a terrifying revelation about the nature of our universe. According to the Declassified Gateway Report, the physical universe does not exist as solid matter. Matter, as we know it, is a lie. The report uses the principles of quantum mechanics to explain that everything in the universe, from the stars in the sky to the chair you were sitting on, is just energy vibrating at different frequencies. Solid matter is simply energy vibrating at a very slow, dense frequency. But how does this vibrating energy create the physical world we see? The CIA document confirms that the universe is a massive, incredibly complex hologram. Imagine a hologram created by lasers. When two laser beams intersect, they create an interference pattern. When light is shined through that pattern, it creates a three-dimensional image that looks completely solid, even though you can pass your hand right through it. The universe works exactly the same way. The entire cosmos is a giant interlocking web of energy fields. When these energy fields interact with each other, they create a universal interference pattern. Your brain is the laser beam. Your synchronized brain decodes this vast universal interference pattern and mathematically converts it into the 3D reality you experience every day. You are not living in the universe. Your brain is generating a holographic simulation of the universe based on the frequency data it is receiving. The Gateway document states this clearly. The universe is a hologram, and the human brain is a holographic receiver. We are holograms existing inside a larger holographic simulation. And because it is a hologram, every single piece of the universe contains the information of the entire universe. The CIA report explicitly states that the human mind, once freed from the physical body, can access any information, anywhere in the universe, instantly. Because in a hologram, everything is connected. There is no separation. Act 4. Escaping time and space. If the physical world is just a holographic illusion, what lies beyond it? The CIA report tackles the concepts of time and space, completely shattering our understanding of both. In our daily lives, we experience time as a straight line, past, present, and future. But the Gateway document proves that time does not exist. Time is a measurement of energy in motion. It is a construct created by the left hemisphere of your brain, so you can process the physical world without going insane. Space is also an illusion. It is just the distance between vibrating energy fields. When a person undergoes the Gateway process, in their brain hemispheres synchronize, their consciousness accelerates. It begins to vibrate at a frequency higher than the physical universe. According to the CIA, when human consciousness vibrates fast enough, it literally breaks outside the boundaries of time and space. It enters a dimension of absolute stillness, a dimension the report calls the absolute. The absolute is the source code of the simulation. It is an infinite field of pure, unmanifested energy. It has no beginning and no end. It is not moving, yet it contains the potential for all movement. It is the creator of the hologram. Through the Gateway process, participants are guided through different levels of consciousness, known as focus levels. At focus 10, your mind is awake, but your body is asleep. At focus 12, your consciousness expands beyond your physical body, and you begin to perceive the holographic energy grid of the room you are in. At focus 15, things become terrifyingly profound. At focus 15, your consciousness steps entirely outside of time. You exist in a state of no time. From this vantage point, you can travel backward to view history exactly as it happened, or travel forward to view probable futures. But the ultimate goal is focus 21 and beyond. At these extreme levels of consciousness, individuals report leaving the physical universe entirely. They enter extra-dimensional realms. They communicate with non-physical entities, beings of pure light, and intelligences that exist outside our holographic matrix. The CIA proved that human beings have the inherent biological capability to travel through dimensions, communicate with extra-dimensional beings, and access the source code of the universe, all simply by altering the frequency of their own brainwaves. Act 5. The missing page 25. When the CIA finally declassified the Gateway process document in 2003, researchers and truth seekers eagerly devoured the 28 pages of mind-bending science. But there was a massive, glaring problem. Page 25 was missing. The document skipped directly from page 24 to page 26. For almost 2 decades, page 25 remained the ultimate mystery of the conspiracy world. Why would the CIA release the entire report detailing out-of-body travel in the holographic universe, but intentionally remove a single page near the very end? What was so dangerous about page 25? People filed endless Freedom of Information Act requests. The CIA claimed they didn't have it. They claimed it was lost in the archives. It wasn't until the year 2021 that the Monroe Institute itself finally found the original copy of the report and released the missing page 25 to the public. When you read what is on that page, you realize exactly why the shadow government wanted it buried. Page 25 is the conclusion of the entire Gateway philosophy. It discusses the concept of God, religion, and the ultimate destiny of human consciousness. The missing page explains that the absolute, the infinite energy source that powers the hologram, is what human religions have been calling God for thousands of years. But the document removes the dogma, it removes the religious control structures. It states that human consciousness is not separate from the absolute. We are not subjects of a distant creator. We are individual fractal extensions of the absolute itself. We are the universe experiencing itself in a physical hologram. The report states that the ultimate goal of human consciousness is to evolve, learn through the physical hologram, and eventually return to the absolute, merging back with the infinite source of all creation. The CIA classified this page because it destroys the elite control grid. It proves that you are a sovereign, infinite, extra-dimensional being. It proves that death is an illusion. Death is simply the consciousness permanently detaching from the biological avatar and returning to the source. If humanity truly understood the contents of page 25, the power structures of the world would instantly collapse. Religions based on fear and control would vanish. The fear of death, which is the primary weapon the elites use to control the masses, would disappear overnight. Act 6. The Ultimate Control Grid. Now you understand why the elites spend trillions of dollars keeping you distracted, fearful, and divided. They know the science of the Gateway process. They know the universe is a hologram. They know that human consciousness writes the code of reality. If your brain hemispheres synchronize and you realize your true infinite nature, you become uncontrollable. You become a glitch in their matrix. This is why they pump the environment full of low-frequency static. They poison the food and water to calcify your pineal gland, the physical antenna for higher consciousness. They use the mainstream media to keep you in a constant state of fear, anger, and anxiety. Fear is a low-frequency vibration. When you are afraid, you are forced into survival mode. Your left brain hemisphere dominates your reality. You become permanently grounded in the dense physical illusion of the hologram. You lose your connection to the absolute. The elites perform dark occult rituals because they understand how to manipulate the holographic energy grid. They use your unawakened, fearful consciousness to render their dystopian version of reality. But you have the power to stop them. The Gateway process proves that the key to breaking the simulation is already inside your head. The system wants you looking at screens, arguing over politics, and fearing artificial intelligence. They want you looking outward, but the escape hatch is inward. You must align your hemispheres, disconnect from their fear frequency, meditate, elevate your vibration, and realize that the physical world is nothing but a shadow on the wall. You are not the physical body. You are the consciousness driving the avatar. You hold the power to change the hologram. The files are declassified. The science is proven. The door is open. All you have to do is step through the gateway. Stay awake. Stay sovereign. Stay elite.